My name is Musile Adebayo. Some of you already know me from the community. I actually do a lot of posting. I sort of work as a community manager for data engineering community. And aside that, in my day-to-day, I work as a data analyst, a fabric analytic engineer, a fabric data engineer. So for some of us, we've been seeing a lot of posts about Microsoft Fabric. Officially, this May, Microsoft Fabric will be 2 years old, and so it's fairly new. But I wouldn't say it's new, but it's Microsoft Fabric creating this unified system, SATS2, where a lot of people, based on their role, can collaborate. I'm talking about a data analyst, a data engineer, a data science, an ML person. They are trying to build this unified interface where everybody can work and collaborate and actually either work on data extraction, data pipeline, transformation, and creating insight depending on your use. So today we'll actually be looking at why Microsoft Fabric, the key features in Microsoft Fabric capabilities, the various data loading, data storage, and data ingestion processing in Microsoft Fabric, and the type of licensing and cost you will incur personally or as an organization. So what maybe pick this topic is because I feel like if I had come here today to do this robust tutorial showing end-to-end data engineering project of Microsoft Fabric, a lot of people wouldn't know most of the fundamental and the best practice of what to use when working within the Microsoft Fabric ecosystem. So when you see Microsoft Fabric for the first time, it's actually built on one leg. And on top of that, we have the Microsoft Purview, which is actually used for security and governance. So within the Microsoft Fabric, like I mentioned, Microsoft tried to bundle a lot of resources they already have out here and put it in one intelligent suite. So the Microsoft Fabric. So within Microsoft Fabric, you have the data factory, you have the data engineering interface, you have the data warehouse, we have the data science UI, a real-time intelligence UI, databases, industry solutions, and popular Power BI that many of you know. So Microsoft Fabric is actually, like I mentioned, a unified experience that allow you to bring all your data team together in one platform. This is supposed to be show. It's set up in a single result pool for all your workload. So when you open Microsoft Fabric, you will see all of this workload among other workload. But this is all of the workload you would see within Microsoft Fabric when you open it for the first time, which I've mentioned earlier. So I'll be breaking down this workload one by one, and especially because this is the data engineering community. Depending on what you're working on, which I will later show you later in the UI demo, you would, when you open Microsoft Fabric for the first time, you get to pick, okay, am I going to work on the Power BI interface? Maybe I'm sticking to the analytics part of thing, or part of things, or am I working on a data engineering workload? So depending on within the data engineering workload, you have all of this item available for you to use. So you can create a lakehouse, which is actually Microsoft Fabric storage, data warehouse, a combination of data warehouse and data lake. Within the data engineering workload, you can also create a notebook either for data injection, data transformation. You can create a lot of architectures with them. Sorry, for example, you can do a lot of architectural process, just like the medallion architecture within Notebook. You can set up your own dedicated environment. You can use the Spark definition within the data engineering workload, and you can use the API for GraphQL. For the data engineering part, you get to enable you to design, build, and maintain infrastructure and system that your organization can use to collect, store, process, and analyze large volume of data. Moving on to the data factory workload. For those that work with Azure, you might be very familiar with data factory. Data factory actually allow you to integrate and prepare and transform data from various sources and database, and also do a lot of real-time solution. When you click on the data factory workload, you have access to all of this item type. We are talking about the data flow gen 2. So for this is actually similar. For those that are familiar with Power BI, this is actually similar to what we call Power Query. And it was actually depreciated from the data flow gen 1, upgraded rather. So within the data factory, you can also create a data pipeline where you get to schedule all your data activities and transformation. You also get to use the Azure Data Factory, the one based within Azure. Then we have the Apache Airflow job, which you can also leverage in Microsoft Fabric. This is actually in a preview mode. We have the copy job where you can copy job from different databases and different sources. Then we have the mirror databases. I'll actually talk more on this a little bit later, because for mirror databases, you can mirror data from different data storage systems. You can mirror data from Snowflake, you can mirror data from anywhere you keep it. So you get to replicate a copy of your data into Microsoft Fabric. That is basically all about data factory within the Microsoft Fabric. Moving on to the data science workload. This is actually another powerful workload within Microsoft Fabric, where you provide AI tool that help you design complete full-scale data science workload. So if you are into ML and ML modeling, you do a lot of experiments. You also get to use a notebook within the data science workload. We have a dedicated environment, we have AI skill, and you also can leverage Python notebook within the data science workload. If anybody, I hope everybody can hear me, because I feel like I'm on full mode. I can't see anything.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank
Absolutely,
you.
we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So then we have the data warehouse part. So the data warehouse within Microsoft Fabric offer this central lake central warehouse. It's actually very similar to what we call the lake house. Sorry, I'm missing a bishop. It's similar to the SQL server that we know. So within this, we have the item types. We have the warehouse. We can work on the sample warehouse. We can also create a notebook. In your warehouse, we can mirror data from any of the sources. You can mirror data from the Azure SQL database. You can mirror data from Azure Databricks. You can mirror data from Snowflake, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure SQL, and other databases. The data warehouse is mostly a data storage system where you get to use the SQL engine to query your data and also store your data. Moving on to the databases. So this is actually an SQL-based database that is built on Azure. Within this one, we only have one item, which is only the SQL database. So I'll be breaking down all of this data storage system and warehouses that we have within Fabric, so that you would know which one actually fits your workload and which one you should actually go for. Then the last one is the industry solution. These are industry solutions that are readily available within microservice that you can leverage. So for this, we have a pre-built sustainable solution, we have a retailing solution, and we have the healthcare data solution within Microsoft Fabric. Finally, we have the Power BI that a lot of you are familiar with. But with the Power BI, you get to transform data from various sources like Excel spreadsheets and connect to data from different other databases. So the item type that you would see within the Power BI system is actually you'll be able to create a report, you'll be able to explore data, you have the organization app, you'll be able to create a paginated report, a scorecard, built dashboard. Then we have the streaming data set and streaming data flow within the Power BI workload in Microsoft Fabric. So I think this is the last on my list. We also have real-time intelligence. So the real-time intelligence helps you create a end-to-end solution for event-based application. For some of you, this is actually similar to what Apache Kafka would do. So in Microsoft Fabric, they are trying to replicate that to have a solution that can get data and real-time into that can help you with real-time data injection and create insight and visualization in real time. So within the real time work intelligence workload, you can have the event house, we have the KQL query set, we have the real time dashboard, we have the event stream, and we have our activator for alerts. Like I said, we have different type of data ingestion within Microsoft Fabric. So one of the popular way you can either load, store, or transform data within Microsoft Fabric is via local upload. So in Microsoft Fabric, you can just click on upload, then you upload your either Excel or CSV file. You can upload your Power BI file. You can upload your notebook. Maybe you have a pre-existing notebook that you are already working in it. You have your codes. You can upload it into Microsoft Fabric. Yes, I can hear some background noise. We can continue. Then we have the Apache Spark, where you get to leverage notebook and Spark job definition for data transformation and exploration within the Microsoft Fabric. Another data ingestion and exploration tool that we have is the real-time event with event stream. This is another storage system that allow you to perform real-time data intelligence within Microsoft Fabric. Then we have the data pipeline. This actually lets you to copy data from various databases, data warehouses into Microsoft Fabric and create a schedule on how you want it to run. So we also have the event house, which is actually the storage system for real-time intelligence. We have the SQL analytics endpoints. Within the SQL analytics endpoint, you can use the SQL UI interface to actually query your data. Then we have the shortcut. For shortcuts, you get to actually reference your data in another source. So what does this mean? So you have a data in a warehouse and you want to bring it into a lakehouse. All you need to do is to create a shortcut that will reference the data in the warehouse to actually show in the lakehouse. So in this case, you are not even copying the old data. It's just referencing that table or that database that is in a warehouse to actually show in a lakehouse. Then mirroring is actually exact replication. It's actually copy your data from either Snowflake, Azure SQL, Azure Cosmos DB. It actually copies it. All of the data is being moved into Microsoft Fabric. So I added this chart here to actually show you when is actually the best use case for you to use any of this? So in a case where you have small file upload from your local machine, maybe it's just a small CSV file or Excel file, you can use the upload option to just bring the data into Microsoft Fabric. So in a case where you have a small data set, again, maybe a little bit more than the regular smaller data set that you use. So in this case, you can use a data flow connector. So I'm talking data maybe between 1 to 3 million row, nothing too heavy. In an Excel, the maximum you can have within a sheet is 1 million row. So for that, you can still use a local file upload. Then when you have a large data source, so data coming from external sources, you can use the copy tool in data pipeline to copy this data. And from there, you can even set an incremental load, whether you want it to be a real-time load or incremental load, like I mentioned. So in a case where you want to do data transformation, you would definitely want to do that in a Python notebook, either you leveraging Apache Spark or Python or Apache SQL, or if you are familiar with Java. I'll be showing you this later. Also for streaming data, I'm talking about real-time data. So I don't know if you all remember Andy did a presentation a couple of months ago, and he used the real-time intelligence within Microsoft Fabric, and he used the event stream and event house while combining that with Kafka, if anybody can remember that. So that is also one of the capabilities of Microsoft Fabric. I think the topic of that webinar is change data capture, and that one name the Microsoft Hackathon. So for time series data, you want to actually get the data from Event House. Event House also is a storage system that is available within the real-time intelligence real-time intelligence storage in Microsoft Fabric. So I mentioned before that within Microsoft Fabric, in fact, there are a lot of data storage system, and or should I call it or data lake or data warehouses. I only tried to capture 3, which I'm trying to focus on just the lake house, the combination of data lake and lake house, the warehouse, and the Fabric SQL database. So in terms of the data volume for lake house and warehouse, you can have unlimited data, but for Fabric SQL data, the current data is only limited to 4 TB currently. So what are the type of data you can have in this storage system? In Lakehouse, you can have structured and semi-structured data. In a warehouse, you want to use a structured and semi-structured data. Then for Fabric SQL database, you can take both structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. Also, whoever is using this storage system, you typically would be a data engineer or a data scientist, not limited to this. Then for a warehouse, you within the warehouse, you probably will be a warehouse developer or data architect or a data engineer. Then for the Fabric database, you probably be a DB admin or app developer. And so what are the skills you would need within this lake house? So typically Spark, if you are working within the lake house. Then for the warehouse, it's basically SQL. Then Fabric database is SQL too. For data organization in the lakehouse, we have folders, we have files, we have databases, and we have tables. But in warehouse, we have only databases, schemas, and tables. And in a Fabric SQL database, we also have databases, schemas, and tables. For a read operation, you would need Spark, TSQL, TSQL, Spark, and also TSQL. Yeah. For a write operation, you definitely be using Spark and TSQL for others. For primary development, you would definitely need a Spark notebook, a Spark job definition. since we'll be using SQL here, you will definitely be writing a lot of SQL script within the warehouse and the Fabric SQL database. So in terms of access via shortcut, yes, we can access data via shortcut into the lakehouse. I'll be showing you later in the demo. Then within the warehouse, yes, we can access it via the SQL analytics endpoint. Then for the Fabric SQL database, yes, that's also possible. So yes, can this be a source for shortcut? Remember I said shortcut is when you are referencing your data that is in another warehouse somewhere into Microsoft Fabric, either in an Azure system or Snowflake. Yes, you can actually do that across board for all of these data storage. For formatting, advanced formatting that is supported within this storage system, we have the package files, CSV, Avero, and JSON. For warehouses, we have almost similar, but including Apache Hive and compatible file format. For Fabric SQL database, this is where it's a little bit different. We have the JSON, photograph, we have the XML file, the spatial and key value formatting available within the data storage. So I actually want to also spotlight this. So I mentioned the various ways which we can get data into Microsoft Fabric. I mentioned data pipeline. I mentioned data flow gen 2. I mentioned transformation via Spark. So in what case would you use a data pipeline copy activity or prefer to use this other ingestion type? So in a case where you're using a data lake, a warehouse migration and data migration, you probably want to use a data copy activity. In a case you're just doing data ingestion, data transformation, data wandering, you want to actually use data flow gen 2. It's almost similar to Spark, depending on what you are comfortable with. For the developer profile, it's almost similar across board. But then for data flow gen 2, a lot of data analysts and BI analysts will definitely remember this from Power Query because of the similarities. So for the developer skill set, you probably will be doing a lot of ETL if you're using data pipeline copy activity. You'll be using SQL and JSON. For data flow gen 2, yes.
Words, those traditional rules are under threat.
Is anybody talking?
I've muted him. Can go ahead. I guess it's a mistake.
Okay. So for data flow gen 2, you get to have an ETL, and for some of us that are familiar with M code that we use in Excel, you get to also use that in data flow gen 2 and SQL. Then within the Spark, using Spark for data injection, you get to use any of these skill sets. So looking from the code level skills that is required. So data pipeline activities is actually a no code to low code. It's actually a drag and drop UI if you know your way around. Then even data flow gen 2, it's no code, low code. But for Spark, since you'll be leveraging tools, programming language like Scala, Python, SQL, you would need to know how to code in any of these languages. For developer interface, there's actually an assistant process. There's a Canva that you just click and go around with. For data flow gen 2, I've been mentioning Power Query. Yes, it's so similar to Power Query. Then for Spark, you would be working with a notebook within this and also doing a lot of Spark definition. For data sources, it has like can connect to 30 plus connector in data flow gen 2. We have 150, then Spark, we have hundreds of Spark library. For destination sources, you have like 18 plus connector. For data flow, we have Lakehouse, Azure SQL, Azure Data Explorer, and Azure Synaptics Analytics. Then for Spark, 100 of Spark library. So for transformation complexity, it's usually lightweight. The data pipeline transformation is usually something, maybe you're merging something, you're flattening, you're mapping column to one another when you are using the data pipeline activity. But for data flow gen 2, for some of us that are very familiar with Power Query before, you know, there are a lot of transformation you can do within the data flow gen 2. Then for Spark, it's actually support for Spark or Spark transformation, depending on the level of your skill. You can do a lot of transformation processes from raw data to your clean data. So I mentioned earlier that I would spotlight on shortcut and mirroring. So shortcut only allow you to just, like I said, it allow you to reference your data in another source. It does not bring the data in, but for mirroring, it actually replicates your data from different source and bring that into a lakeout within Microsoft Fabric. I actually do not want to bore you with all of this story. That is actually the simplest thing I think you should pick out between a shortcut and a mirror within Microsoft Fabric. So the various data loading system within Microsoft Fabric, we have the full load, the incremental load, and the real-time load. So in what use case will you use a full load? So maybe the first initial data migration is actually a small data set with little freshes. The advantage is that it's very easy to do, especially when it's small data set. We are the disadvantages is that there's high data transfer and processing time with potential performance impact on your source to destination system. So it's the first time you're loading your data, especially if it's a very big data volume you are moving into Microsoft Fabric. For the incremental load, this is perfect for where you need a regular update and they are large data set and you need data to be updated quickly into your warehouse. One of the advantages is there's a reduced data transfer and processing time, and there's also an efficient use of resources. For disadvantages, it requires tracking changes at all time. So for those of us that have actually use incremental loading a lot within our workspace, then we have the real-time load where it supports IoT data, real-time analytics, maybe data that needs to be updated every 1 hour or 15 minutes. So this is kind of data loading type you will be opting for within Microsoft Fabric. So it's good for immediate data processing and real-time insights. And the disadvantage is that you would need a robust infrastructure to set it up and potential for data loss or latency issue when not addressed properly. I've actually mentioned the load type before, but then if you are doing a full load, you probably will be using the data factory, the data flow gen 2 or a notebook to actually load for the first time. For incremental load, it's almost the same, but for the real-time load, this is where it's actually very different. It's a totally different item within Microsoft Fabric. We have the event stream, we have the event hub, we have and you get to use the notebook to load data into Microsoft Fabric. So this is actually something that a lot of people normally debate in terms of, okay, I want to use Microsoft Fabric. What licensing should I get? What's the capacity would I need? So so I try to explain what the SKUs are and also what capabilities and Power BI SKU means. So for the capacity unit, no, SKU is just a different recommended capacity within Microsoft Fabric. For the capacity unit, I'm talking about the compute power that is actually available to each of these SKUs. And for the Power BI SKU, so this is going for Power BI Premium to Fabric SKUs. And for Power BI Core, for those that do a lot of Power BI workloads. So you need the Power BI features and all the other Fabric facility. So for the capacity assigned to each unit, it's almost just looking at all the the SKUs, and they are extracting the number to determine the capacity. So, but in a case where you have a team member that they need to explore all of the Microsoft Fabric, and if you notice lately, a lot of companies now sort of forced being, should I say, forced to actually buy the entire of Microsoft Fabric unit, because Microsoft Fabric is not treating Power BI as a standalone app anymore. They're actually bringing it into Microsoft Fabric, so it's become a unified, part of the unified analytic tools within Microsoft Fabric. So whether you like it or not, a lot of companies are moving from Power BI Pro Premium license to Fabric license. And to actually be able to access, for example, Power BI reports for people that only use Power BI alone before, we would need at least an F4 SKU to get started. So I actually want to show us what this Fabric capacity estimator is, but maybe after this slide I will show you based on what we are going to use in our workload for today. Demo. So this heading is wrong. So I'm just trying to show here that okay, there's a retail company A, there's a retail company B. There's one organization tenant in this retail company A, but then in this despite the fact that there's one organization tenant, you can have different capacity. You can have a capacity for the US team, for the UK team, and the Germany team. Sorry. And within the each capacity, you can have different workspaces. You can have a workspace for the marketing team, the sales team, or they can be another retail company B where there are different tenants. There's a military session tenant for security, then there's a commercial tenant. Then within each tenant, again, there's a different capacity you create based on your team location. So that is actually possible within Microsoft Fabric. I'll stop sharing my slide now to actually show you. Can you all see my screen? Najeeb, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see us.
So, okay. So we are in Microsoft actually just released this a couple of weeks ago, because a lot of people do question the fact that okay, how can I know what's the capacity I need to get my work done within Microsoft Fabric? So we have this Fabric SKU calculator. So in this case, our own is just a very small data set. I would say 5 gig. There's literally no data refreshes. I'll just say maybe 3 times daily. But a number of tables, no, we don't have this much. But I'm just going to leave it like this. So in which workload would we be using with this? So of course I'll be using the data warehouse. I'll be using data factory. I'm not using data science. Would I be using Power BI? I say yes. Would I be doing any real-time data analysis? No. I do not need a SQL database for this. I would also click this, and I'll click on calculate. So that is actually for pool size, and I'll click on calculate. I think it's because I clicked on warehouse. Can you just let me go? Oh no, it's making me feel everything. How many people will be viewing my report? Let's say like 5 people or 10. Number of people that will be creating reports, only me. What's the typical size? Maybe 10 gig. Then this should calculate. So Microsoft is actually recommending an F32 capacity for me. And if I want to go to Microsoft pricing system, so I pick US dollar and monthly pricing. And if I look at F32, I'm seeing 2.5 per month. Oh, interesting. So that is actually what you get depending on your workload and utilizing Microsoft Fabric. So I am now in Microsoft Fabric. Najeeb, can you see this one too?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So
Somebody
for
hand is up. I'm not sure if it's relating to this.
okay.
Emmanuel, the hand is down now. You can go ahead.
Okay. So if you open Microsoft Fabric for the first time, in my case, I'm not actually using any of this capacity. I'm on trial version. I'm on trial version. And when I was showing about tenants, depending on if perhaps you have multiple tenants set within your system, you can switch tenant here. So I mean, within Microsoft Fabric, and there are 2 UI, because there's usually a discussion around the fact that, okay, I don't want to do engineering, just give me Power BI. So you just go here and do all of your Power BI workload. So, but I'll just focus on Fabric or the other part of Fabric. So when you come here, typically this is what you get. You have this UI waiting for you. Then the first thing you create is a new workspace. For those that are familiar with Azure, this is like creating a resource group where you have a lot of people that you'll be working with, collaborating in this workspace. Because this is DCC, I'll just create something like DCC socks at the project workspace, something like that. There's actually an advanced setting here, depending on the storage format. Oh, so another thing, what we call data set in regular day-to-day life in Microsoft Fabric, it's actually called semantic model. So in case I'm saying semantic model, I'm actually talking about data set. So that is just another naming convention they came up with. Depending on the kind of data set you'll be using, is either a small one or a large one. I typically go for a small one, especially for this tutorial. It's not really a tutorial per se, but I just want to show you. So this is actually the workspace, what it looks like. And I feel like I'm too fast. We started with the home button and we have the opportunity to see our workspace. We have the one-link catalog within the Microsoft Fabric. We have the monitoring hub. This is where you monitor. I don't have anything here. All of your performance within Microsoft Fabric. Then this is actually the real-time interface that I talked about. Then we have the different workload. So all of these are available, but this is actually the current default workload that is within Microsoft Fabric that I already showed earlier. So I'll just go back to my workspace. That's this collaboration, 3 people collaborating together. We have the workspace settings where you can look at make a lot of changes in terms of what you're doing. because I'm actually focused on this data engineering part of this thing. I would definitely look at the Spark settings. My network takes forever. I'm so sorry about that. So the next thing I'll be doing right now is actually create a lakehouse. But to actually create a lakehouse within Microsoft Fabric, once you click on new item, just like I just did, you have access to all of these items that I already talked about earlier. All of this, they are currently available within Microsoft Fabric, depending on your workload. So I'll just search for lakehouse, and I'll just call it DVC projects lakehouse. Let's just say the lakehouse and create. Oh no. Yeah, so within a lakehouse, this is our lakehouse. You would see that I can actually upload file and just get something from my folder, a CSV, and have it uploaded. I'll not be doing that right now. Then I can use shortcut to actually get a sample data from warehouse. I can use the new data flow gen too, and I can use the data pipeline within the data layouts. Within this also, we also have the opportunity to use either to create a new notebook, Python notebook, or use a pre-existing notebook. So we have a table and we have a file. So if I were to upload a file right now, it will go to, let me just upload one. Desktop document. Oh, this is not here. So I'm uploading. So I should have this within. Didn't it just upload just now? I can't find it though. Do I refresh the interface? Oh. Yeah, it is. So I have the customer CSV file that I just uploaded, which is in the file section of our data lake. So I will just have to just instantly load this to a table. So if I click on this, it just automatically move into my tables that which I will be using for this. I'll just create a new table. Now customer, I'll just call it DC project table. And just load it into my lakehouse. My network today is another thing. It's only a 3 KB file. So And also rename it to, let's just leave at customer table. Okay. So I have my uploaded file now with among my table. So for this particular project, I am going to my, so automatically when you create a lakehouse within Microsoft Fabric, accompanying it, you get a semantic model, which we know as dataset. Then we have the SQL endpoint where you can query the CSV file that I just uploaded now. So another thing you can do here is look for data pipeline. So I'll just call this data pipeline and create. So for this, we'll be copying a sample data that is already available within Microsoft Fabric using the copy assistant. But before that, you can get data from any of these sources, Dataverse, folders, and all these my one catalog. You can actually search for it, or that's whether you want to get data from Snowflake. I'm not sure whether they support Amazon S3, or the other one again, BigQuery, Google BigQuery. You can actually get data from any of this into your lakehouse. But in my case, I'll just load a already available data set. So this is the kind of experience you get within Microsoft Fabric. So moving on, it's asking me to choose a destination. I'm going to pick a lake house. It automatically pick my my workspace, correct? Then I want to load it into the DEC workspace. And for the lake house, I would be creating a new one, which is DEC project to lake house. Sorry. So I'm going to actually load to a new table, or there's also an option where you can load to an existing table if you have one. I'm just going to load to a new table. Public holiday data. This point you get to this particular data set only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, and you get to check whether the schema mapping is correct. Then I click on next. For this copy activity, we get that, okay, I'm loading data from a sample source into a lakehouse, and I'll click on save and run. I think what I really want to actually show you here is For people that are familiar with Azure, we can remember this interface very well, where we can get data from different sources, use copy assistant, use data flow based on different activity. You can write step, use the event house, do transformation. We can run schedule of our lake house, and we can add trigger, and also we can see the view and run history. So all of these are possible within Lakehouse. So it's telling me that my copy job is successful, and probably just want to rename this to public data copy. Yeah. So if I go back to my lake house, I should have this loaded in. This is so if I go to my workspace, I can see the new lake house that I created. So I've created 2 lake house right now, where I have the public holiday data. Another thing I want to show you, because I mentioned before, is the SQL analytic endpoint. This is actually another experience within Microsoft Fabric that allow you to create your data. So my public data will be showing here, and I can always query it to actually get information. This is actually the experience of the SQL analytics. I can go back to my lakehouse from this place, or use any of these slide icon to go to the lakehouse within Microsoft Fabric. I think another thing I want to show is, let me go to my workspace. I want to actually show you the warehouse experience, how we can use shortcut to get data, sample data from the warehouse into the lakehouse. So I'll click on new item. I will search for warehouse. I will just click on the sample warehouse, and this should okay. Okay. Yeah, it's actually loading, giving it a little bit of time to load. So I have some sample data there in my warehouse. So what I would do is click on this place, and I will try and bring this date into my lakehouse. So how can I achieve that? I'll go to my lakehouse here and I say I want to bring in data via a shortcut. I will click on new shortcut and it will ask me where am I bringing it from? Is it any of these external sources? So if perhaps you have your data in Amazon S3 bucket, in DataFast in GCP, you can create a shortcut that brings the data into your lakehouse in Microsoft Fabric. But in this case, I'm just going to bring it from my warehouse. I'm trying to bring in this date table. I'm going to click on date and next and create a shortcut. So we have our public holiday data, then we have a date table that you can use here. So the difference between a normal table and a shortcut table is this icon. And that's how you can get to know a data set from a shortcut data set table from a regular table within the lakehouse. I think this is about everything I want to show. So in this workflow, I have everything that I've done so far. So I have 2 lakehouse, 1 warehouse, and I created 1 data pipeline. All of these are within my workspace. If I go ahead to actually create a notebook now, calm down. I can't seems to bring it down. So this is actually all I want to show you for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Musili. That was a good session. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.